I want to shift now to, what you did to contribute. And in so many ways, I think even got the party started to save 15,000 lives out of Afghanistan. And there were five different, if I understand it right, five different evacuation broader missions that came up. And the first one was saving a young woman over there, Aria. Can you explain how that got started? Because that, pretty much brought me to tears listening to you talk about that in a couple of your interviews.
So what led me to want to go over there is it was when I was working in Afghanistan on a classified program. There's this one guy I hired, and he was a 19, 20-year-old Afghan guy working as a interpreter for us. Started out as an interpreter, but then became so much more. He was so smart. He was so good. And in Afghanistan, it's like everybody's their cousin, right? So he had a cousin in ministries. He had cousins here, cousins there. So anytime we wanted something, he was the go-to guy. And this young man's name was Aziz. So Aziz and I, we got into some hairy situations where, we made it out, which is great, but whatever. And I had always told Aziz that I would come get him and his family. I left working with Aziz in 2007 timeframe. Then I went on to another contract and did some other stuff in Afghanistan. But I always tried to stay in touch with Aziz. Here comes 2015. He wants to get his SIV, Special Immigrant Visa, for the work he did with the U.S. Forces. So I help him submit that. Well, our administration was so screwed up on that by promising people in another country that helped us in war, but then not coming through with their promise to help them. Here comes 2021, and Stevie Wonder could see what was happening in Afghanistan as the whole country started collapsing, and the American administrations were basically getting ready to turn their back on it. And as veterans, we saw that like, oh man. Aziz and other veterans had guys like Aziz as well. These guys fought with me. They saved my life. Commandos fought with me, et cetera, et cetera. I've got to go save Aziz. I made a promise to this guy and his wife and his kids. I'm not going to break that promise. I'm not going to turn my back on a brother. So spring of 2021, I come up with this idea. I'm going to go get him. And I had three ideas. Three courses of action, as we call them, right? Course of action one was my company is just going to open up an office in Abu Dhabi or in Dubai and send Aziz over as a business manager with his family, and he can run the company. I don't care what he did. He could have sold falafels. I could care less. Just open up a business, put him there as manager, and he's safe. And they get a 5-year business visa. His family's there. He just would have to make enough money in that business to provide for himself. And he already did that for us at one point in time, worked in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, excuse me. The second course of action was I hit up a buddy of mine. I actually asked this individual, can you get me a cameraman? And I was going to go over and film the fall of Kabul. And Aziz, with his cousin network, was going to get me in to see President Ghani, all the ministers, and we would interview them as the nation was collapsing. I really should have done that because that would have been an amazing freaking documentary. But and then we would have taken Aziz and his family to, again, Dubai, to the movie city they have all over there to help for the editing and get them out of Afghanistan. Safe. Not a big threat. The third one was I called up some guys from my background and military background, asked them if they would go help Aziz get him out of the country. And I did ask some guys, and they're like, do I get to kill Taliban? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, I'm there, bro. I'm there, man. I'm like, oh, I'll pay you. They're like, I don't need money. If I get a chance to kill more Taliban, I'm good. So cool. And that was, I was going to go on over to Sharjah, UAE, lease a Russian plane, buy some guns. One can buy guns anywhere. And then fly in Afghanistan, forcibly get Aziz and his family onto the plane, take off over a neighboring country, throw all the guns out, declare an in-flight emergency, and then land somewhere and get arrested, at least we're out of Afghanistan. And I've got my lawyer and his international law firm that he's part of, we're going to work on getting us released at that point. But still, we're out of Afghanistan. Don't worry about it. I was all good with that. Those are my three options. So I'm going to do this. I called the guys that used to work for me on that classified contract and asked them if they wanted to participate. Not thinking any of them would, because it was my stupid idea to do this. One of them was finishing medical school. One of them was running a family business. And one of the guys, a UFC fighter, and he's on Fox News. He's like, oh, I've got these talks and I got this other stuff I got to do. But if you make it to UAE, I'll fly over and, we'll have steak and beer and that'll be cool. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. I got a call from another Marine that used to work for me. And he says, how would you like to save 3,000 to 5,000 orphans? And I'm like, who do I have to kill to save these orphans, right? He says, hopefully no one. I'm like, oh, thank you. You get tired of hurting people, and I didn't want to do that in my life. So I'm like, what do we do? He goes, well, I got the ambassador from the UAE, and we sent him a request to borrow some planes to get the orphans out. We just need a politician to speak to the ambassador, U.S. politician, to speak to the ambassador. And, our old boss, my old team leader, who was our program manager for a classified program, he said to call you. I'm like, well, I know someone who knows some politicians. So I called up one of the guys that worked for me before, the UFC guy who couldn't go. And I said, can you get me a politician? This is what's happening. He goes, yeah. And he asked if he can be on the conference call. Come to find out, long story short on that, it wasn't the ambassador. It was the ambassador's assistant. And he kind of chuckled after the U.S. politicians stepped on each other's heads to bow and kowtow to this guy. And the guy kind of laughs and goes, I'll let the ambassador know. Thank you. Fucking hangs up, right? I'm like, oh, okay. I turned to my business associate and a brother of mine from a veteran motorcycle club we were in. And he says, you do know that my family is best friends with the royal family of the UAE, right? He said, I played polo with the Crown Prince. My dad, my friend's dad, and the king were best friends. I'm like, what? He goes, and I went to Georgetown University with the ambassador from the UAE. Do you want me to call them? I'm like, yeah. So he makes the call. The ambassador says, let me call the Crown Prince. This is August 13th, August 12th or 13th. He calls the ambassador calls the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince says, whatever Joseph Robert III wants, we will do. So Joe turns to me, he goes, well, we're in. I'm like, oh my gosh. So we bought plane tickets, the two of us, and we head to the UAE. Now, this huge groundswell of as Afghanistan fell, as Kabul fell, veteran organizations, other people, a ton of veterans, 20-year war. There's a lot of veterans who work with Afghans, Christian groups, etc. They start putting together lists of Afghans to evacuate. And it all went into this one hotel, the Willard Hotel in D.C. A lot of these organizations set up in a conference room, and they get all these requests, put it all together, raise money from sponsors or what have you, donors. And then they were trying to charter planes or send me the list. I hit UAE. We're up in Dubai on August 16th is when we arrived. And Kabul fell on the 15th. My interpreter Aziz, I'm talking to him, trying to get him into the airport, trying to get it taken care of. He can't make it in. It's a complete cluster. State Department didn't know what they were doing. The military was hobnailed. They were hobbled. They didn't know. Their authority was very limited in this evacuation. The Taliban were given security around the entire airport, which is wrong. And then the U.S. State Department gave a list of all the SIV applicants, the Afghans that worked with the Americans, to the Taliban and said, here you go. The people that you were hunting, they're trying to kill, can you let them in? Here's a list of everybody. And the Taliban's like, oh, that's awesome.
Who made that decision?
I don't know, but it was Mr. Blinken's, Secretary Blinken's chair, right? So he was the guy in charge. It could have been an underling. It could have been Blinken. I don't know. But it was a damn stupid thought process. A lot of people were killed. Well, we're in Dubai, and again, I'm getting all this information. All these names, save this person. We're putting on the list. I'm like, as soon as I get there, we'll see what aircraft we have, how we can start evacuating people. The military, U.S. military, was still taking the airport back from the Taliban and, trying to clear it. And everybody saw the pictures of the Afghans getting on military planes and falling from the sky. And so the military had to go in, ground forces, and again, clear and secure the airfield. So that happens. I'm in Dubai, and I get this text message, a WhatsApp text message. And the picture is a young girl walking down the street. The Taliban are taking the picture from a car, and they say, we know who you are. We're going to rape you, and we're going to kill you. And it infuriated me, Lee. I mean, if I could have flown right into Afghanistan at that moment, I would have hunted those guys down who did that for threatening a young lady. I was really just pissed. I can't get into Afghanistan. I'm still in Dubai. I got to get to Abu Dhabi, which is another state in the UAE, another kingdom. So I'm on the phone. I go, give me this girl's number. I contact her, and we start chatting and texting. I'm having her send me pictures, and she thinks I'm a complete freak or a creeper. So I'm like, I need you to take a picture of yourself, a selfie, with you touching your left ear with your right hand. And she goes, what's wrong with you? You're weird. I'm like, no, just do that for me. And she would stick her tongue out or give me the finger or something like that. And she goes, you're weird. I'm like, no, because I didn't want to be talking to a Taliban guy who's pretending to be a girl and then send someone in to go get her. And then, 3 days, I promised her that I would get her out. 3 days and then 3 nights. And on the third night, and she was all by herself. She had no food, no water for 3 days. She did find, forgive me, Aria, a bottle of vodka, and she was slowly sipping that. But there was no running water at the airport. There was no food at the airport. She was hiding under her desk and hiding where she could because the Taliban was searching for her. On the third night, I get a phone call. Pick up the phone. It's a Afghan landline number. I answer it. It's her. She says, they found me. Someone told them where I am. You promised me you would save my life. You need to come get me. Man, I felt like such a complete waste because I wasn't even there. I had been talking to some U.S. Air Force Special Operations guys who were there on the ground, texting with them. So when she told me that, I had her drop a pin with her WhatsApp and stay where you are. And I called these guys and I said, you got to go get her. And they heroically went over outside of the area they were supposed to stay in. And they went to rescue this girl. And they're texting me back and they're like, she's not here. We can't find her. She's not here. And I asked them to just please keep looking. And if you find her body, bring it back to the millside so that when I fly in, I'll be able to take care of her. Because there was an unbelievable connection that we had. One of the guys looks out a window. He sees the Taliban physically dragging this young lady away. So all of them go out the window. They have a discussion with the Taliban. They hand the girl over. And afterwards, I'm pacing like a dad, in a maternity ward back in the 50s. He ate 2 of my nails, wondering what the hell's happening. They text me back. And I get a picture of her flashing me a peace symbol in between these two special operations guys. And she texts me, she goes, I'm safe. I'm here. You did it. I love you. I love you. And I wrote, I love you too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't mean it like that. Don't tell my wife I said I love you. But I did. I loved her. She was the first. And I broke down. I prayed. I called my wife. I told her what happened. And I said, this is it. I'm done hurting people. I just want to help people for the rest of my life.